Here we go, everybody. That is the music. It's called the bumper music that brings us back from the break. My name is Rex Perry. If you're just turning on your radio, we are talking business, politics, and economics in the B2B radio show. Again, if you hear something and didn't get a chance to write it down, you can find me on our website, 123bz.com. 123B as in business, Z as in zebra.com. Our next guest is Elise. Elise, give us your last name. Introduce yourself, please.
Economics major at Arizona State, and I'm so excited to be here today.
Fantastic. Now tell us, you're part of the ASU Politics Club. Tell us about that. What is that?
Right. So that's a club where people from all over campus get together once a week, and we discuss current events, politics, policy, everything related to economics and presidential elections.
Excellent. By the way, our show is business, politics, and economics, so this is right up your alley. And you guys meet on Mondays, right?
We do, Mondays from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m.
And that's on campus. What area of campus? That's a big campus. Give us the major building area where you're.
It is in the social sciences building, so pretty central to campus, I think.
Social sciences building. If anybody, and you're pretty much open for the public to come and join you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you let us know, if you want to DM us on Instagram at American Institutions, we have food available as well.
American Institutions?
Yep.
And so if they Google that, they can find you that way?
If you Google it, it would be Center for American Institutions at ASU, and our Instagram handle is just at American Institutions.
At American on Instagram, American Institutions. I got to remember that, and I'll try to put a link on our website too. And anybody that hears this would like to get more information, I can put you in touch. But let's talk a little bit. And I don't want to catch you off guard here, but we just did a really interesting interview with a guy named Nemeth. And he and his brother have developed a platform, a digital platform, where you can use a smartphone. And what you do is you take a picture or scan of your driver's license, your passport with a photo, and then you take a selfie so that there's a facial match. And then you register address, affiliation, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, and they are able to use that information to cross-check what's publicly available. But people don't know this, but the public voting records, it's accessible to the public. That's why they call it public records. Mm-hmm. And they can find out if you're a registered voter, and then they cross-check that to make sure that they know what kind of legislative district you're in, so that when there's a chance to vote for a congressional representative or school board in your neighborhood, they can cross-check that with the database to confirm that you are a citizen and are authorized and registered to vote in that particular election. And you can register this anywhere in the world, and you can vote anywhere in the world. Can you imagine the power of this, especially in your generation, what you guys can, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would say initially, having never heard of it until this week, I'd be a bit apprehensive.
Okay.
It does seem like there are great safeguards in place, though, to ensure that, votes aren't stolen or hacked or anything. But I think at least myself and a few others like me would tend toward favoring in-person voting in terms of connecting to the community and then having more stakes in who you're voting for. So this is an interesting twist of, I would say, maybe making it easier to vote, but perhaps also pulling you out of the community a little bit.
Mm. Yeah. Now, what's interesting, though, is I think statistically, a lot more and more people are voting by mail.
Yep.
And this is just kind of a step up from that. And if I understand the mail-in ballot system, they actually do a cross-check. They do a sampling, I believe it's called, where they will do a random sample of individuals that have voted by mail by calling them or contacting them to confirm, hey, this is you, and this is what we got, da-da-da-da-da, and that's one of the ways. The nice thing about doing with technology is that there's a digital paper trail from literally the IP address or the phone that you use, the digital unit, laptop or whatever it was, to the voting gathering situation, and they have a whole blockchain registration so that they can verify. In other words, once it's transactions, it's multiplied. That transaction, that voting decision is duplicated on multiple servers spread all over the world. So if somebody tries to change something on one server, all of the other servers or everybody's red flags go off. Say, no, somebody's tampering with this. And so that's one of the benefits of having the digital vote is because you can, oh, by the way, they have it set up with, from what I understood, a facial recognition, but also you could do a thumbprint. So if you need to get even into more detail on that, there are technical ways to confirm that Mr. Jones is Mr. Jones, and this is who and what Mr. Jones was voting for. So if we can bring that type of accuracy in, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you have that type of accuracy, I do think that is an advantage over the mail-in ballots. Because I know for those, it's probably pretty easy to vote for someone else. I think my concern would be just voting anywhere in the world, there's more room for manipulation or coercion. And so I'd say the problem isn't necessarily the person voting, but maybe who is influencing that person. And if they're in their home, then obviously they're not going to be able to guard their vote from being manipulated.
That's a good point. Very good point. And from what I understood, too, is when you do the voting, you have to take a selfie, which has a timestamp on the moment right after you voted. Anyway, there are different safeguards. Now, let me ask you a question, though. We've talked about using this platform as a way of doing a primary before the primary, meaning the Republican primary, the Democrat primary. Obviously, the independents don't get in a primary, but then they always feel excluded. That's why we interviewed people from the Open Primaries organization. We got the Forward Party. We got the Green Party. We got, oh gosh, there's just so many. So the ranked choice voting people. So we have all these independents, and we have a lot of people that are not super red, but they're more like a pink, or a super blue, they're more like a baby blue, would love to participate in what we call the primary before the primary, where you have the top 2 Republican candidates that are running for the particular office, top 2 Democrats, top 2 independents. So you got a spreadsheet of maybe 4, 5, 6 people, and you're able to rank those votes. In other words, he's my number 1 choice, here's my number 2 choice, and number 3, and then do kind of like an American Idol thing where you promote it, they get a chance to debate with one another, they get to present their ideas. What are your thoughts on having a primary before the primary using electronic voting?
I am interested in seeing the results, so I would say running a couple of those as samples first might give people a better feel for the results and how it would work, because I think a lot of people haven't really seen it before. Like myself, I have heard of Alaska, obviously, with ranked choice voting, but that's kind of the only example that I know of, and I don't know much. So I would say running a sample on that and maybe trying it out would be a really good idea to kind of let people see what it would actually impact.
Yeah, this would be a straw poll, basically. But the nice thing about it is you have registered Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, you have registered people in that particular jurisdiction, that precinct, that district, that have registered and now are expressing their opinion, not about just the candidate too. We could take universal background checks for firearms. We could touch hot button issues like abortion. We could talk about disclosures. A lot of people don't talk about this too. Disclosures on corporations and who the entity owners really are, instead of having these shell corporations. And you know all about this. If you got a background in economics, there's a lot of influence from foreign nationals that are putting money into our political system to sway our political voters in particular areas via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Right, yeah.
And so therefore we get a chance to really communicate with them on a platform where they're able to watch a video and then express their, yes, this is a good idea, no, that's a bad idea. And then you're able to accumulate, not just, sometimes when they do these surveys, it really bothers me because a lot of people don't answer their phones nowadays. So how are you trying to do a political survey when people aren't answering their phones? But this way you have registered voters that are actually expressing their opinion, and you can document it. And again, it would be a straw poll. We're talking about a straw poll here. So your thoughts on that?
I definitely think it would increase community engagement and probably increase voter knowledge about candidates and issues.
Yeah.
I think it would come down to the voters being willing to do the work, though. I mean, I think that's what it usually comes down to, but in this case, you'd have a wider range of options. So I think it would be on the voters to do their research, and then we would get great results if they're doing their work.
Yeah, and the hope there is if you're an independent, it's a chance to make your voice heard before the primary, because in Arizona, in certain primaries, certain districts, certain areas, if you win the Republican primary, you're guaranteed the general election. You see what I'm trying to say? And vice versa. And so we're trying in an effort here to bring our country back to more of the middle and stop shouting at each other so much and have more.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know you guys try to do that too. How do you handle that? Have you had disruptions in your meetings as part of the club?
I can't remember any in the near past. I would say people are very respectful and want to hear everybody's opinion. And this place is a great way for us to get to know other people who disagree with us. And so it's more of sharing an idea instead of debating, I would say.
And I think that's the important thing too. Sometimes now I love some of these YouTube platforms and different videos you've seen where a guy sits in the middle and then 20 people are surrounding him. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
And they come and then they talk really fast and they never get a really chance to dig into the details of the subject or details. It's almost like you can't take a breath. And I think we need, what you guys are trying to do is slow it down just a little bit and really listen to each other so that maybe there's a way to change your paradigm, your perspective, and say, you know what, I think I agree with you on that. Sometimes that happens. Mm-hmm. And it takes a big person to admit, you know what, I think I was wrong on that. And I unfortunately, I've been wrong on so many things. I try to not bring that subject up. But tell me on your education, you're studying economics. Can you see how the politics of economics and business, how they all tie together?
Yeah, I honestly did not understand how interconnected they were before I started school. And the more I get into it, the more I realize it's just coming down to a few core issues and everything stems from there.
Yeah, and a lot of times even the economics on a local city-by-city basis. Besides doing this radio show, I'm also a swimming pool builder. And so I try to go in to get a permit from certain cities. I won't mention any names, but doggone it, some of them are really fast because you can sit down and talk to the person right over the counter. But ever since COVID, a lot of the cities have made it all digital. You have to submit everything through their portal and trying to get a live person to talk. So all of a sudden, time is money, and economics is all about money and time. And
exactly.
and getting that permit, it drives the cost of construction through the roof. Now, we got a couple minutes left here. Tell us one more time when your club meets, and it's an open invitation. Tell us the location one more time on ASU campus.
Right, it's in Social Sciences Building, and it's from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. on Mondays. And this semester, we're discussing what it means to be an American.
What it means to be an American? That sounds like a great subject. Now, when do you guys? You're obviously on Christmas break now. When do you get back in school?
We get back, I believe, January 12th, so we've still got a hefty chunk of break left.
Well, everybody, if you hear this, put it on your calendar after January. It's on a Monday at 4:30 on ASU campus in the Social Sciences Building. And by the way, I'm going to try to make it over there and get a chance to. You came down and were a guest of my radio show a few weeks ago, but I want to come and get to know some of the other people there. You guys are doing a fantastic job. We want to encourage you. We want you to participate. We want to hear your voices on this radio show. And Elise, I want to say thank you so much for being a guest on my show.
Thank you so much for having me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. All right, everybody, we're getting down to the wire. We got to wrap up the show. My name is Rex Perry. I'm the host and creator of the show. If you miss anything, go to our website, 123B as in business, Z as in zebra.com. Go out, have a great evening. Got it. Elise, are you still there?
I am.
I want to say thank